Solrock and Lunatone, the definitive Sun and Moon Pokemon even though you can't catch them in Sun and Moon. These are two Pokemon added in Generation 3 and I actually really love them. But I feel like we don't see a lot of talk about these Pokemon despite the fact that they're some of the first potentially alien Pokemon we meet. Sure, there were Clefairy and Staryu from the previous games, but there was nothing too concrete about them. The Clefairy line only has a connection to the moon and the anime gives it a potential origin in space. And the Staryu line is only said to communicate with the stars, for the most part they're just regular sea stars. It wasn't until Solrock and Lunatone that the idea of Pokemon coming from outside our planet was really played around with. In fact, all of Generation 3 had a pretty heavy emphasis on the Earth as a whole and whatever lies beyond it. The Pokédex tells us, Solrock is a new species of Pokemon that is said to have fallen from space. Lunatone was discovered at a location where a meteorite fell. As a result, some people theorize that this Pokemon came from space. However, no one has been able to prove this theory so far. This Pokemon was first discovered 40 years ago at the site of a meteor strike. I think these Pokédex entries are the most compelling evidence, because if both of these Pokemon were only recently discovered despite the fact that evolutionarily they appear pretty basic, and because there are reports of them originating from areas of known meteor impacts, it makes most sense for them to have come from space. Now, where exactly is a pretty interesting question. I don't think they came from a far-off alien planet, more likely from within our solar system. These Pokemon aren't only thematically modeled after the Sun and Moon, they depend on them. Solrock is said to draw its energy from the Sun itself, while Lunatone's activities are based on the moon cycles. Another Pokédex entry proposes a theory that Solrock came from the Sun itself, but I don't think that even rocks can survive that. Though I would believe it originating from a planet at least a little closer to the Sun. Lunatone can just be native to the moon, it isn't all that believable, it's the closest thing to Earth. I mean, it's not like anyone was really doubting these Pokemon came from space, but I think the question of where exactly is worth discussing, because they aren't the kind of terrifying alien invaders you might expect. They're honestly just regular dudes that love the cycles of our Earth. They're literally just vibing, though it's a bit sad to see that they really haven't done all that much since, or at least you don't see them talked about all that often. They're not horrible, they're just okay, and usually rock Pokemon aren't like the popular favorites because of their limited expression. I will say that Solrock and Lunatone are one of the most perfect sets of counterparts in the whole franchise, starting off with how they're version exclusives in their debut games. Normally version exclusives feel a little arbitrary, like there's no reason a Pokemon should appear in one game and not the other. Some of them can make more thematic sense, and that is the case with these two. Solrock is in Ruby version where near the climax of the game, Team Magma unleashes Groudon which brings a heavy drought, you know, the sun. Meanwhile, Lunatone can be found in Sapphire version where Team Aqua awakens Kyogre to bring a storm and raise the ocean. The moon is literally what causes the ocean tides. Didn't you ever watch Yu-Gi-Oh? I know that there were a bunch of jokes about Solrock and Lunatone being the perfect Pokemon for Sun and Moon, but they were perfectly at home in the Hoenn region. Of course, these are also the two Pokemon that we see take center stage as one of the major double battles in the game when we challenge Tate and Liza. And the way these two work together in this battle is so cool, with Solrock setting up Sunlight and throwing out some powerful hits, while Lunatone provides the screens for both of their defenses. A perfect way of showing the potential of this new battle format. And this kind of partnership between them is represented best in the trading card game. There have been several printings of both, but since their introduction in EX Sandstorm, there's always been a Solrock alongside a Lunatone in the same set, except for like one time in Generation 6, and even then there were two printed not too far apart from each other. Some of my favorites are the ones released in EX Deoxys, where they each have an ability that benefits the other one on the field. Where Solrock gains free retreat and Lunatone gains more HP, also Lunatone's attack does more damage. I love how the artwork shows them in a desert during day and night to fit each one, though more recently we saw the ones printed in the Pokemon Go set actually come together for a competent deck. With how Solrock is able to help accelerate energy onto Lunatone from the discard pile, and Lunatone can deal more damage the more energy it has. So it makes for a nice engine of non-EX attackers that can really function and challenge some of the bigger decks. Though I'm making this video like 2 years after they first came out and after a rotation, so your mileage may vary, but I still find it so cool that yeah, Solrock and Lunatone were a legitimate deck at some point. Though that's probably the most relevance they've seen, so the deck discussions will take up most of the YouTube searches. Solrock and Lunatone did play a role in a little side quest in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, where you could go to the Haina Desert and meet a mysterious old man with no memories. If you show him one of the two Pokemon, depending on the version of the game you have, then the Pokemon will restore his memories, at which point he'll say that the star pulses entrusted to him are now in safe hands. After that he says now he can finally return home, into space. At which point it does the iconic Pokemon swirly thing up into the sky, and what? When it comes to the Generation 7 games, there are a lot of what the heck moments in these side quests, so I wouldn't place too much importance on them, but in a game where we meet extra-dimensional beings, I think extraterrestrials are perfectly believable. I'm not too sure if this would really be a hint toward whatever homeworld Solrock and Lunatone are meant to come from, because we really don't see a lot of evidence otherwise, but I'm just gonna say this is a fun little event to remind us of these Pokemon and that they're actually from space. I actually do kind of wish there was a little more to this event to to really give us some more answers and expand the lore. All in all, I just want to chat about these two because while they're cool alien Pokemon that tie into their regions so well, they honestly don't have a lot to them without each other. Their purpose was literally to be a duo based on the Sun and Moon, but it works so well for them. In making this video, I've been playing a bit more of the deck on TCG Live, and I've really gained even more appreciation for them as I tend to do when writing and recording these type of videos. And with all the time I've been spending in Generation 3's Hoenn region, they'll make some of the perfect partners to explore not only here, but beyond the stars. So let me know what you think about Solrock and Lunatone and which of the two is your favorite. Also, any fun little theories are welcome as well. Anyway, I should probably keep investigating, there might be even more weird little aliens around here. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the great Gators. DeAndre, GigaWiiU64, Claude Singh, Waterliumiz, Mazhar Siddiqui, Cosmo Zero, Justin Dows, Mr. Saturn, Rainfrux, Cheez-It62, Swiss Cheese Shiny Hunter, Michael Snyder, Lockadox, Gallantry, GatorKid509, TF, Cheeseburger Lasers, Mathaclog947, Nomad Nobi, Pastel Blood, Taijirai, Justin R, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support so your name here, get some access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.
Momentum is building with more ways to collect, trade, and play. Plus, holographic basic energy cards and select booster packs for supercharged power. Pokemon trading card game EX Emerald, bursting with energy. Booster packs sold separately.